Hello everyone, Rain here, and welcome back to our Enigmatica 6 Expert playthrough. In the last episode, we did a bunch of magic things, and we're going to continue with that today. We need to improve our aura generation setup, so that's going to be like top priority. However, I want to show you something. So I've replaced our old leap. It had an augment here. It had specifically amplify here, which made it a really good leap. But for traveling shorter distances, it was too much. So what I've done is I now have normal leap. And on number 2, we have long leap, which actually uses 2 amplifies. So let's go ahead and see how that looks. So here's the normal one. So this is really good. Let's try that again. So this is really good for like getting short distances like over here to our altar, right? But if we want, I can do this, and we can do a long leap, which is gonna like shoot us really far. So this is gonna be really, really nice for world transportation. Anyways, down here at our altar, let's see what we have going on. It's the same as it was before. I've put in some sunmetal bricks. In fact, we've got a whole stack of them cooking up. But of course, we keep running out of aura. Not only that, I've already taken some of these out, but warding stones take a lot of aura to make as well, and we did some of those too. So in order to, make this work, we have to come around and we have to manually do this. Well, that's going to stop today. We are going to come up with a system to automatically keep the aura in this vicinity. And in order to do so, item number 1 is going to be this aura detector. So this aura detector, if we were to look in the book, it's going to tell us, like, it outputs a redstone signal, kind of like a comparator, I believe. We'll see once we get it ready. And then that will be able to tell a system if it needs to throw ender pearls at the shooting mark over there. So how do we make this? Well, we needed infused sunmetal ingots, which we have going. We need one of these Eye of the Ancients, which is actually infused sunmetal Eye of Ender, really easy to get. Infused rock we need for this, and we need for the main craft, which is just arcane stone in the crimson altar. Okay, we may need to bring our shooting mark in there, depending on how much aura we have. I've got no idea. And then you need a redstone root, which I don't actually have any of these roots, but I, interestingly enough, have some redstone roots. So we're good. We're ready to craft it. So let's get the arcane stone going. And by arcane stone, I mean infused rock, although we do need arcane stone to make the infused rock. I've just made our way into the nether, and we can see our natural altar in here is almost out of juice, and the aura in the chunk is pretty depleted, so I don't know how much crafts we're going to be able to get done. I brought a whole stack, and the other thing that I'm noticing here as well is we need the simple automation thing set up here too, with the chest and the output chest and all that kind of stuff. These are actually really quick to make though, so I think I'm going to just sit here and make a small handful, and we'll have to come back here and improve this setup soon. And this is where we run out. So we were able to make 15. I was actually trying to get to 16, but 15 should be fine for now. Let's get back to the overworld. And here's our aura detector. Let's go see how this thing works. Okay, we're just gonna place it down like right here in this area. It's temporary. I don't want these things to be in our altar. They're either gonna be like underneath the altar or they're gonna be floating above the altar in some manner. Haven't decided that yet either, but here we go. Aura detector. And if we pull open the book, let's just take a quick peek at what the book says. Right, the aura detector gives out a redstone signal based on the amount of aura in the close vicinity. So long as you attach a comparator to it. Okay, so we do actually need a comparator as well. We could probably give this a quick test, right? If we were to do like a redstone line there. What is that? That is power 0. So that's good to know. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a comparator. Ow. I don't like where I put it. Let's move it. Okay, so I put the comparator the wrong way. Let's check it this way. Aha, so we're definitely getting something. What exactly are we getting off of there? We are getting a power of 10. All right, and if we look, I mean, 10 puts us at 3/4 full, and we would know that 15 should be full. So that's a pretty good number. We could absolutely have this watching to see, like, hey, our natural, or the aura in our area has dropped to, I don't know, let's say 3. That means we're at a critical mass. We should start generating more. So that's what we're going to get going now. Reading the book, if you want to read the whole thing, feel free to pause, but we're going to move to the next page here. And the bit that's important is letting the apparatus and the aura do their thing for a while seems to be a good approach of analysis, as sometimes aura tends to migrate and move around to balance itself out naturally. So my hope is that we could potentially build our device using the shooting mark, say, over here, so that it's nice and visible. We can see when it's running and see the particle effects that come off of it, and that will hopefully be able to supply the altar over here with the aura. Now, the actual aura detector block, I don't know if we care too much about. We might just put that directly underneath the altar and then put some redstone signal out over this way. And when looking at chunk borders, we can clearly see that this chunk is separate from that chunk. So this will be a good experiment at the very minimum to see if draining the aura over there, and we can like replenish it from here. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to find out. Okay, behind us here is our proof of concept. Let me show you what I've done. At the moment, we have this disabled via a lever. And that's important. We're going to load things up with the ender pearls. But here we are. We're directly underneath where our altar is. We have the aura detector. We have the comparator. And then we have a redstone logic control, of course. If the aura detector is less than level 3, technically it's less than 5. That's how we have it. You know what? I did want 3. Here we go. There we go. If it's less than or equal to level 3, we're going to turn off, and that means we're going to emit no redstone signal. However, if we're higher than level 3, we will emit a 15 redstone signal. So you can see red is not emitting anything at the moment. It's at 0. So this should be off. However, we have it disabled with the lever. Now, over here, we're receiving that signal, and we have a timer. This timer is set for 200 ticks. Okay, and it's paused while redstone is active, so that's why we have this disabled. And what this does is it sends a signal here, which should bud power, right, the block here, which will hit the dispenser, which should be able to shoot an ender pearl directly into the shooting mark. We bring this over. We have a 2-second delay on this adjustable pulse repeater. I don't know that we need exactly 2 seconds, but I don't think we need to spam this thing with ender pearls either. Again, the connection comes through, another 2 seconds, another 2 seconds, and then finally after 200 ticks, which is 10 seconds, so after 10 whole seconds, we will emit another pulse and start the whole process again. So let's go ahead and enable it, and then we should hear some clicks, although it will take 10 seconds here before it starts, which is almost about to start. Click. Click. Click, and then the final one. And then we should come back over here, see it's almost ready, and it starts again. And the reason why we do this in 4s is because we always want to start from the north side, since the shooting mark defaults to north. So I have a feeling if we like log out of the world, or shut the world down, and let's say this was the mark, it might restart again over here. So this way, we're going to keep it in nice sets of 4. Let's go ahead and disable the system again. I'm going to quickly sleep, and then after we sleep, we will load these up and give it a real try. We're going to use half a stack in total, so we'll put 8 in each dispenser to start with. Okay, and again, let's take a look at our aura. So the aura right here, where this is going to start generating, is maybe 1/3, right? That's about where we're at on that bar on the top left. Remember, it's up there on top left. If we come over to where our altar is, though, we see it drop and drop and drop. The altar itself actually does still have aura in it, but right here in the block where we are, I mean, it's very, very low. So let's go ahead and see what happens. And in fact, I'm going to just break this lever, and then the system will work on its own. So power has gone off. We should start seeing some things happen in 95 ticks. And then we can see the fancy particles happen. We can like see if it's working and all that kind of stuff. We'll like be able to monitor and everything. Aha. So let's see what has happened over at our altar. You know, it does look like we have gained some power or aura over here, doesn't it? However, is it enough? Technically, if the altar was still draining, this would keep going down, but we can already see that we have stopped the process. So maybe we do want this higher than 3. So let's come in here and set it to be better, right? So let's turn it off. Instead of 3, how about we say 5? And run. And while it's running, we'll come over here and stand and watch our aura around meter. Check that out. Every time it throws an ender pearl, we can see it go up a chunk. And 5 is not halfway, right? Because the comparator outputs a signal of 15, so half of 15, 7.5, would actually be halfway. So maybe we should increase this again. What I do kind of worry about is the aura over here is going to always be lower than over there. And I did notice when I was manually trying to throw ender pearls at this, once it got to around 3/4 full, it wouldn't let me throw any more ender pearls at the target, and instead the ender pearl would activate as a normal ender pearl, teleporting me into the block. So if we come over here, we now can see that we are at about half, which is pretty interesting. So let's try this again. Let's make it 7. Which is just below half. Okay, we're still receiving a signal. Oh, no, we are now receiving a signal, which means it has turned itself off. So yeah, we're at about half. I feel like this is probably a really good spot to leave it. We should never totally run out of aura unless we're depleting it faster than we can generate it, but we're also not going to spike the aura really high. And when we read the book, it does tell us that having like negative aura is really bad, but also it seems to imply that having excess aura could also be bad and create what they called luscious zones. I'm not really sure what that means. That might be something we need to experiment with at a, later day. Now then, this isn't pretty or anything, and like a lot of these blocks are sort of temporary. I think I want to create something neat to look at here, but this is going to do us for the time being. So we needed a way to potentially get these ender pearls back into the system without, manually clicking on each one and dragging them in. So what we have here is just a very simple pretty pipe network, and we're going to go ahead and put in the high extraction module. But then also we have a round-robin sorting modifier. So this should, in theory, make it so that each of our dispensers get an even amount of items. And we're going to try that right now. So they should each get 7. Well, that did not work how I expected. Okay, so the reason why it only went into 1 and not all of them was because I put it in basically as a stack, right? There were 28 or whatever it was items in there. If I put all 4 of these in as individual stacks, it should split them evenly now. We have 2 going each direction. We have 1 going down in each of the first 2, and then the remainers are going to go out and drop in those ones. So if we really want this to be perfectly even, then we should put them in groups of 4. But I'm sure there's other options too, but this will suit our purposes for now. I'm going to call this project, not aesthetically complete, but functionally complete. Now then, we're back over at the factory because we need to figure out how to get the items from over there to get over here. And we have mentioned a few different ways to do it, but with our newfound magic powers, maybe we should use magic to move the items. Yes, that is what I'm thinking. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I have here. I have arcane bricks. We should be able to make a portal like a nether portal out of arcane bricks, and then we can specify a location where they get teleported to using these warp scrolls. And so what I'm thinking is, all of the items are going to route into a single portal in the floor, and then they're going to like magically teleport into the air somewhere above me right here. They will drop down. This is the center of the room. It is a double. Yeah, it's not. It's, you know, it's an even building here, but it's going to drop down, and then somehow we're going to collect the items and then move them into the drawer controller. And for that, I have a modular router. So I'm kind of thinking, and I don't know how fast this is going to be. We might need to make like speed upgrades or stack upgrades. We're going to find that out. But I'm kind of thinking this one modular router would be the input for all of the factory. They could all send their items here through portals. As long as the portals work the way I think they do and hope they do. I've never used one before. So anyways, let's get cracking. Okay, I know, this room is not pretty. That's okay, I think, I hope. Yeah, we're gonna put this weighted ejector right here, and then we just need to get a little bit of rotational energy up, which we should be able to do pretty easily with these encased chain drives. Aha, it is now connected. So what this is gonna do, and actually we're gonna watch this actually sort of work. We have 16 aluminum sheet metal already in here, right? Things that have been crafted already. So all we should really need to do now is if I place one of our brass funnels on here. Aha. Oh. I mean, yeah, I guess I need to configure it correctly, don't I? You have to shift right click. So this is our direction. I want to shift it over there. Let's try this again. And aha, it gets launched over, and then it's going to follow the path around, and this is where the portal is. Aha, the portal's not set up just yet though. And I think we're gonna try and put some glass around it. That makes sure that any items that drop in here won't get picked up by our magnet. One other spot that we need to do is up here, and I'm not sure if this is gonna work or not. We'll see. Of course, the magnet just picked them up. It is important to make sure that our areas, so we can walk around and see what's going on, that they are magnet safe. So instead of just having that drop directly down onto the belt, I think we'll probably use some chutes. Now we need to get the portal set up, and the first step of that is really to get one of these warp scrolls ready to go. So I'm gonna shift right click this location. You recorded your location to the warp scroll. So now this should be where items go. All right, let's go ahead and give this a try. Also, we want to get rid of this. One thing that the portal needs in order to actually create is going to be a full source jar. So I happen to have a full source jar right there. The only thing that it says to do is to throw the warp scroll into the portal. Again, I've never made one of these portals before. I think we can do a single hole. I don't know, they might have to be bigger, might have to be the size of another portal, but we're gonna find out. Boom! Creeper! Yep. Well, this is down to 10% full, so interestingly enough, it did not take the whole thing. Okay, so let's see if this works now. We're gonna come back over here, and I'm going to put in the aluminum sheet metal from the weighted ejectors. This chest up here had the 3 wireless transmitters. They should go down through the chutes now. Maybe it already did and I missed it. Did it go? I must have missed it? I must have missed it. Let's try one more thing. I'm gonna throw the gunpowder in. Yes, there goes the gunpowder now. We should see this go through the portal. Okay, you know, I didn't see any particle effects or any sounds, but they disappeared and we didn't pick them back up. So let's go ahead and take a peek. Now, our magnet, you know, I'm gonna turn our magnet off entirely at this moment. Magnet is off. Aha! Check it out, our items are here. We'll pick them up. Okay, let's actually see what it looks like. We're gonna go ahead and throw the aluminum sheet metal back into this box, just so we can kind of get an idea of what it looks like when they're dropping in. That weighted ejector tried to shoot me. Okay. So we know it's going to take a couple seconds to go around, and that's something we could improve upon too if we really wanted to, right? We could speed the belts up. There it is, poofed into existence and dropped straight down. So this right here is where we would want some sort of collection, right? We could have them drop onto a chute that goes into a chest, but I do happen to have a vacuum module on the modular router, and I don't know if it's going to be fast enough to keep up with many different sources sending it items. There is also a fast pickup augment that does specifically say works with the vacuum module to ignore the pickup delay, so that might be what we need as well. So let's go ahead and place down our modular router, and the things that we need to configure, right? We need the sender module, and I think we shift right-click where we want it to send to. Aha, target set. Now we should be able to put that in here. No, let's put that second, and we're gonna put the vacuum module in first. So theoretically, if I were to drop something right now, it should send it in. So let's go ahead and try that. Now, I can't see it in the buffer, but it does appear to be going one at a time. One at a time's not going to cut it. We're going to need either stack augment module or the stack upgrade module. There's two of them, and I don't know exactly what each one does. And maybe we can upgrade its buffer so it can hold more items at once? I'm actually sort of wondering if the ability to grab them out of an input chest and then send them would be more beneficial. But, I don't know, let's play around with the vacuum just a little bit more. I have the stack upgrade, and we're going to check this. I don't know if the stack will let it pick up a whole stack at the same time, but it should let it send the whole stack. So we're going to try this again, and this time we will actually take a whole stack of aluminum sheet metal, and I'm just going to toss it right on top. It does appear to be doing... Oh, it's not doing a stack, it's doing two? I must have picked up the rest. I did. When we had no stack augment in the modular router, it was doing one item at a time. When we had one stack augment, it was doing two. It doubled it. So I believe the way this works is if we were to put 2 stack augments, we'll do 4. If we do 3 stack augments, we'll do 8. And then 16, and then 32, and then finally if you have 6 total augments, it should do a full stack, which we're going to test that right now. We have almost a full stack. It's good enough to test it, so good. They all slot in the same, or stack in the same slot, which is a very good thing. I've also taken my magnet off, so here we go. The whole thing has gone, all of them at once. So if I take all of these out, which is now more than a stack, we should see it take like 2 operations, right? 1 and 2. That's pretty good, but we could speed it up a little bit, right? We have some speed upgrades. Now, I was reading in the book, and it says that normally a router works on 20 ticks, so it's going to do this every 20 ticks. 20 ticks is 1 second. Each upgrade will remove 2 ticks. So this was a single craft, it made 4. This should remove 8 ticks, meaning it's almost running at 1 every half a second. Let's try it again. Definitely faster. So we could play around. I don't know if the stack upgrades go above a full stack. Could we do 2 stacks at once? Maybe. I'm not sure about that though. But we could absolutely put a few more speed upgrades in there if we really wanted to. Now, it does warn in the book that too many speed upgrades will give your server problems. Again, we're not running on a server, but it probably still equates to making your game run slower. So we should be wary of that. As we've said before, we do want to make sure that we are magnet safe. I put the magnet back on. We're going to just pop in over here real quick. Put in a stack of those aluminum sheet metals in here. We should see them launching over. Oh, interesting. They go in the chute. And then we should see it pop in over here, and it's going to, of course, drop through and then get sent in. That's really not too shabby, if I say so myself. It should also be noted that I believe we can just kind of throw an item in here, and the router will also pick it up. Sure does. So if we know that, hey, we need to manually grab items for the next craft that the factory needs to do, we can actually just come in here and chuck them on the floor, and it'll put them right in the system for us. At least that's one way we could do it. I also think it's pretty important to note this, right? We're just going to chuck a whole bunch of items on the belt so we can see this in operation. Item in. Oh, we can actually pull that out. Okay, so item in, item in, item in. The source jar is still at 10% full, so we're actually going to pick this up now. We are done with it. The source jar only needs to be here for the very, creation of the portal. That's the only time it uses source. It's not using source every time it sends something through the portal. We still have a little bit of cleanup work to do in this room, but I would say for the most part it's done. I do think we're probably going to want to put windows in at some point as well, but we're going to have to see how other, room, building, automation, whatever things are going to be connecting onto this factory structure. One thing to note is we have removed all of the connections to the output chests, right? We no longer need the computer to connect to it since we are now going through the belt system. So anyways, thanks for watching. You know, there's still more programming work that has to happen, and I am a little procrastinating it a bit, but we'll get to it for sure. This factory will be up and running, fully operational pretty soon. Also, how do you like the glass behind me? I'm kind of thinking it doesn't work here. Maybe something that's more clear and connects. Anyways, this is Mercs Rain signing off.